pleasure to be here today with PIDC, one of our great partners, and particularly to talk about such an important initiative with the Restaurant Revitalization Program. Just want to share a little bit about Lendistry for those who may not be aware. We are a minority owned, technology enabled community development financial institution. And basically, we are mission bound to provide support to small business owners and their underserved communities. And we do this primarily through providing education, which is so important for businesses to scale and to maintain, as well as providing access to capital. And we do that in a number of forms. And we're going to talk about one of the forms today that we're supporting the SBA in to help small businesses gain access to capital. But I think it's really important to let everyone know that we are certified by the Department of Treasury as a community development financial institution, as well as a community development entity. We're also a member of the Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco and a direct lender for the SBA. And again, our mission is really about supporting small businesses and job creation. This year, we expect to disperse over $3 billion in capital and to support over 2 million jobs to really help with job creation. So again, it is our pleasure to be here today to support the great businesses in Philadelphia. And with that, I'm going to introduce Tucker McNulty, who's going to go through the information around the Restaurant Revitalization Program. And Tucker will also be available to answer any questions at the end. So with that, Tucker, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you, Clarence. So I think we have the screen pulled up for our website, but for anyone that needs to get to our website, and we'll send out the link, it's lendistry.com. And at the landing page, you will see the RRF, or the Restaurant Revitalization Fund link. So I'm going to take you through this, and this is what you'll see when you come to this URL here. I can't scroll down. Haven't. Okay, great. So it has some overview information here about the SBA and the program, and the how this funding for the RRF came into existence. You can see it's about it was $28.6 billion. So this is money that is set aside exclusively for the restaurant industries and the entities that fall underneath that umbrella. So I will, I don't, for some reason this is going kind of slow on my end, but here you'll see the eligible businesses, and I'm going to go into more in depth with the entities, but this is kind of sort of an overview before we get into the presentation here. So if we can scroll down some more and give you some information here. This is sort of important here, just as a stopping point. The funding prioritization for the businesses and the set-asides that are in place. $5 billion for those that with gross receipts in 2019 of more than 500,000. $4 billion is set aside for businesses with 500,000 to $1.5 million, and then 500 million are set aside for gross receipts of with businesses of $50,000 or less. So that this is really targeted to help smaller businesses in the restaurant community, which I think is really great. So that I think that's important to point out here. Um, so just going through here, the eligible uses of funds. Ultimately, I want to get down here um, into our guide, which just to point out the program questions, the views for the SBA frequently asked questions. That's sort of I can click on that and it has different answers, different questions that you may have. We thought that was important to point out. And this is directly from the SBA. So you can see that multiple answers to different questions. So if we can go back into great, scrolling down here. So here's the application guide is what I want to get into. Um, so this is our application guide. So this will take you through everything that you need to do between Lendistry and the SBA. So we have partnered with the SBA essentially to help with the application process. So we're going to verify our clients, and the way I look at it is those that may feel that they would like a little bit more of a specialized, not hand-holding necessarily, but a little bit, maybe they're intimidated by applying through the SBA. And so we're acting as a resource and helping with the application process. So we scroll down here through the table of contents. So this is sort of what I went over earlier. It goes through, again, the origination of this fund, the 28.6 billion that was awarded for the RRF program. A little bit about the awards. Program provides restaurants who meet eligibility requirements with funding equal to their pandemic related revenue loss up to 5 million per physical location. So 5 million on the high end, which is a lot of money. That's why they're talking about this fund not being around very long or being oversubscribed, and 1,000 on the minimum on the lower end. This here, this side talks more about the specific entities, and it's pretty encompassing. Restaurants, you can see bakeries. Now, 33% of the gross receipts have to comprise of consumption. So they have to, if you're a bakery, you have to have food served and eaten at the premises. Same with the brew pubs, wineries. Many wineries, as you know, in different jurisdictions, you can buy wine and have it delivered to your house. Again, you need to have 33% of your gross receipts has to be through um, uh, eating at your establishment to be considered a a restaurant under this eligible entities. So if we scroll down a little bit more, uh, now there are calculations, so it's a very important to we recommend for our clients that are applying through our portal. It's very important to go through these different calculations prior to going into our portal and applying. You have to. Um, we recommend that you review the different calculations that are here. And depending on the date of your establishment, is the calculation that you'll use. Um, just using the very basic calculation of those uh, businesses that are in operation prior to January 1st, 2019, you would use your 2019 gross receipts minus your 2020 uh, gross receipts and backing out any PPP loan that you may have received, because again, the PPP loan funding was from the federal government, similar to this fund here. So um, they so you have to back out the PPP to come up with the funding amount. If that amount is above the $1,000, then you're good to move forward. Scrolling down here some, you can see that the maximum amount is 5 million per location. We went through that, not to exceed 10 million total, and $1,000 is your minimum. There is a fourth calculation here uh, um, that you'll use depending again on multiple locations and start dates. So there's two examples there that should help you out if in fact you have multiple locations with different start dates. Scrolling down here, we've included links to the SBA and for supplemental documents that you can go directly to help you, again, prior to applying through the portal, so that you can really familiarize yourself with the program and any questions that you might have prior um, to going in and applying. Obviously, we recommend looking at the tables for calculation purposes, but any other additional questions you might have, we have included the links here. So getting into the actual process, step one is really what we're involved in, is completing the application through us. We will then, once your application has been verified through us, you will we will give you a password for the SBA, the portal, for their portal, and you'll log on, and you will then upload your financial information through the SBA. They are underwriting and making the decision ultimately on the award. We are just in taking the applications and verifying your information. We're also linking your bank account. So this is something that we have a lot of experience with through a platform called Plaid that many of you may be familiar with. So we will verify your banking information, and that will make it much easier for if in fact you receive a reward for those funds to be wired to your business account should you receive the funding through this program. And so we're doing that up front and making the process hopefully much easier to go through and to complete. Let's see here. This is some of the required documents that you will need, and we're just letting you know up front so that it's really important to have all your ducks in a row. That is something that's been stressed by administrators at the SBA when we started the program to, depending on, again, the table that you're going to use, depending on your start date, you're going to need the various tax information for the SBA to review. So we have listed it here so that you know ahead of time what to expect. But we're recommending that even though we're intaking the application and we're verifying a lot of the information in partnership with the SBA, that you have all this other information ready to go. We've been told that if you have to go out and in again, you lose your place in line, so to speak. So that's very, very important. I can't stress that enough. That when you're working with your partners and your customers, ultimately our clients, because we'll be working, we're working with them together, that they have all their information ready.
Tucker, if I can just interrupt for a moment
Sure.
and reiterate the importance of working with an organization like Lendistry that will help you make sure your application is complete. As Tucker said, if you apply directly through the SBA portal, which is an option, if your application has parts of it that are incomplete and the SBA has to come back to you, you stand the chance of losing your place in line. And remember, this program is first come, first serve. And although to us, $28.6 billion is a lot of money, if you recall, the Paycheck Protection Program was 10 times that amount. And so you really want to make sure that you are taking your time, completing the information, work with Lendistry, and they will help you make sure that your application is correct before they send it on. The last thing you want to do is lose your place in line, because believe me, a lot of companies have already lined up to get these funds. Sorry, Tucker, I just wanted to emphasize the need
No,
to
I
make.
think thank you for that. I appreciate it. Marla must have been sitting on some of the same meetings we were in terms of the SBA administrators at the beginning of the training for this program, but it is set to be oversubscribed because again the demand is great, and the supply in terms of funding, although it sounds like a large number, this is nationwide. So states like California and New York alone could eat up all the money. So we're here to help. Again, our mission base is to help small businesses, small minority-owned businesses, primarily in those areas that have been, hardest hit by the COVID, and had to close up, and had no, no revenue, no gross receipts for many, many months. Some of them didn't make it through. Unfortunately, you all have read, I'm sure, in your local trade papers. We have the Baltimore Business Journal here in Maryland, where I am, and unfortunately, at the height of COVID, or towards the we're still involved in it, obviously, but they just, the restrictions were so great, especially in Baltimore City, where they're were not able to open up, and then there was outside dining for a while, and then inside dining, but it was only at 30%, and now I think I'm not sure. I think 50% may be full open in some areas. And what happened was that it wasn't equitable because a lot of businesses in Baltimore County, if you're familiar with the jurisdictions here, Baltimore County opened up sooner, so folks from the city were going into Baltimore County to eat. So it was a bad situation all around. So moving down here, there's some more required documents. Obviously, your application will be completed through us. Verification of different tax forms, in this case, IRS 4506T, and gross receipts documents obviously is very critical to demonstrate your gross receipts for the 2 fiscal years, and the differences between the two, again, minusing any other awards through the PPP program. Okay, so coming down here, we get into more of this is how to scan your ID, because again, that is something else that we were going to review on the front end, is your government ID, your driver's license. We're going to make sure that that matches up with the information that's submitted into the portal, and then that everything matches up. Again, this is sort of another concierge sort of service that we're offering in partnership with the SBA, and we're going to make sure that everything that we check on the front end is going to ultimately pass the stress test when it goes to the SBA. So if there is critical time in order for you to be in the queue, so to speak, everything, all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. So moving down here, you talk about valid email, obviously, in terms of having that all correctly inputted in the system, because that's obviously a major way in which you'll be communicated with. And then the application process, I won't spend a whole lot of time on this, but this is basically our portal. There is we have set up a waiting room. From what I understand from our chief operating officer, this is similar to what Disney uses. So when you buy tickets to go to different Disney theme parks, so it's very good and a very sophisticated platform. You will go in there and then be informed how long you will be in the queue. You ultimately then go in and create an account. You'll see over here to the right when you're when your time is when you're called electronically, that is, to join, to create an account and an ID, as you see over here to the right. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. This presentation, obviously, and our link will be available. I want to be, conscious of everybody's time, especially given the time of the day. I know it's over our regular hours of shift work here. We do work with the West Coast. Our company has folks all over the place, so they're sort of midday right now. So this just talks about the application and what you would need to process the application through our website. I'll just kind of go through this quickly. Again, this will all be available. It's a fairly long presentation, but we want to have all the information for you to take a look at, so you know what you're getting into when you enter the portal.
Tucker, have you, in the applications you have seen thus far, and I know it's only been a few days,
Sure.
have you seen any particular challenges, any patterns where applicants are making errors that they should pay special attention?
Well, folks transpose numbers, which is a problem. We've caught some of those. There has been fields where mistakenly they've put their account number instead of the number, so looks like it's $17 million that they're trying to apply for. So there has been errors such as that. We do on the banking side, we have a team of folks looking at that so that we know that the routing number and the account number are accurate, so that when we try to link with Plaid, that's going to all go through, and there's not going to be any issues there. So in those areas, yes, we've seen, again, we've tried to scrutinize some of that information on the front end. So as you alluded to, Marla, that everything's buttoned up and ready to go when you're you get into the SBA, and time is of the essence, obviously, with this program, as I mentioned, in terms of the availability of funding. Let me see. Talks a little bit more about the application, the calculation, and I don't know if we're going to end up with. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I'm just seeing if. Yeah, I think I'm gonna. I think I'm going to stop there, and if there's any additional questions, I'll go into the chat and take a look. But those are the main areas that I want to cover. Of course, I'll take questions and any comments or concerns. But it's been robust in terms of the applications that we've seen come in. Those are the main areas where we've caught some folks that have, either they call it fat fingering, mistyping or transposing some information. So we have caught that and made sure that we had the correct information. We're spot checking some accounts that may have come in under 1,000, and they have put the wrong figures in. They've put in the 2019 and they've reversed it, so it's come out negative. So yeah, so I think it's been a good partnership with the SBA so far, and I think that people are trying to figure out and finalize PPP, and then I think we'll see a significant rush with this program. Again, Marla, did Clarence say how many applications the SBA had taken in since Monday, or
He did not.
he
No,
had not heard?
he had
Okay.
not heard yet. Right.
I
But
did hear that they are moving very, very, I did hear that one company had closing documents already. So, that's good news that they're working very fast on it.
Tucker,
So,
can you talk about the priority period and the priority group within this
sure.
restaurant revitalization fund?
So that's spelled out here. If we go back into here, we have that here. Priority award funds. I think this opens up. Here we go. So here are the definitions of the priority and awarding the funds. 51% of the ownership must be in this area here. And we don't get into identifying or assisting with that. It's how you identify, and we suggest that you go, if you have any questions about that, to go into the SBA website. But the schedule here, this will talk a little bit more about your question, I believe here. Oh no, that's the eligibility of uses. Let me just see here. Oh, here it is. So the first 21 days, Marla, I won't read through this, but for the first 21 days, essentially everybody's eligible to apply. So everybody can apply. But for their first 21 days, the SBA will look at those folks that have identified in that area that we just showed. And I'm not sure what their formula is. I don't know how they will sort of stack those folks up. But that is what they are saying. They for the first 21 days, those folks will get priority funding. There are also, as I mentioned earlier, there's 3 thresholds here in terms of what your gross receipts are. So you have two things going on. You have priority funding groups for the first 21 days, and then everybody will be put into the pool, so to speak. But they're also they're in the queue. They're also evaluating and will be funding based on your gross receipts. So the number 3, I think, is the most important. I would think, hopefully for this group, in the 2 and 3 area, where we're serving smaller businesses with gross receipts that are $50,000 or less. The mom and pop type of restaurants that are in this sort of in that that area of revenue or gross receipts.
So
They're
one
not.
of,
I'm
I'm
sorry. Go ahead.
sorry, one
No,
of
go
the
ahead.
things, one of the things we do know for those who are eligible, the priority groups include, you have to be at least 51% owned by women,
Yeah.
51% or more owned by veterans, or 51% owned by persons who are considered socially and economically disadvantaged, which is defined typically as the minority groups, Black, Brown, Asian, Alaskan,
Is a Pacific.
indigenous, Pacific Asian,
Mhm.
Native American. So if you identify as owned, as you identify as a person as any of those groups and you own at least 51% of your company, you fall within that priority group that can apply and have your application processed within that first 21 days. And as Tucker said,
That's correct.
anybody can submit the application.
Hmm.
It's just that within that 21-day period, only that priority group will have their applications processed. And so on day 22, everybody will begin to be processed. That's why it's so important for you to make sure when you submit that application, you have it correct, because you don't want to lose your place in line. Because
Right.
everyone is submitting, but not everyone is being processed. So my understanding is everyone started putting in the applications on this past Monday. But out of that line, they're going to pull the companies that identify within the priority group, and those applications will get processed first. Day 22, anybody else who's in the line, they're going to go right down the line, first come, first serve. So it's so vitally important for you to make sure you don't get pulled from that line because something was incorrect on that application, which is why we are so excited about this partnership with Lendistry that will help you make sure that application is correct and you don't lose your place in line.
Correct. And then on top of that, there's a further filter, which is the set aside. So, they are protecting 500 million of the total amount for those folks that make less than 50,000 in gross receipts. So, as Marla so accurately alluded to, and what I'd like to stress too, is that, your customers, our clients should really take the time to, read all the information if they haven't already, have all their information available to them, right at the side of their computer, and then go ahead in and apply. We are vetting these applications and the information, such as the banking information and the valid, driver's license or federal ID, um, and so that ultimately, when you are enter into the SBA, and all this information is sent to them, then it'll be a smooth sailing process from there. Because we've done a lot of the work on the front end. You'll have all the information available to upload to them electronically, and hopefully you'll be well on your way to securing an award through this program. With that, I'll open it up to any other questions. Again, we stress just sort of, doing your homework and reviewing the information and having the documents available when filling out the application and ultimately going into the SBA. So if I go into the chat here, let's see. To the front. We may have covered some of these questions already.
Oh, here's one from Bill. Bill says
Okay.
it's a great walkthrough of what is necessary. Sounds like Lendistry can help me get it right the first time. That's what we want, as opposed to just going directly to SBA. Thank you so much. Bill, that is exactly why we are partnering with Lendistry. And you may have missed the beginning part of the webinar where the SBA has exclusively partnered with Lendistry to help in processing these applications. There is not another organization in the country that SBA has partnered with in this regard.
That's
So
correct.
we do have the link to get to the Lendistry web landing page. Once you get there, then you'll get the Lendistry support that you need to make sure your application is correct the first time. That's absolutely right. Get your place in line and stay in line.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if I shared hopefully I shared my or Marla, if you can share maybe my contact information if there's any questions from any of the partners that are on the line when they're advising their clients, I'd be happy to do that. So feel free to reach out, and I will get back to you as soon as I can so that you can advise your clients. But we really want to help. Obviously, our missions are very similar, I think, in helping particularly the smaller businesses. And I remember in the first round of the PPP, there was a lot of discussion, and rightfully so, for some of the larger companies that we read about, that we all know, and that we probably, shop at from time to time, that received a lot of the funding. So I think they changed that. They got it right with PPP in the second round, having just wound down that program and worked on it from the beginning. And I think they're doing a great job also in, at least making it more available and exclusive, if you will, for smaller businesses, which it should be, because they were the hardest hit, I think, during
Sure.
this pandemic.
I do want to add in the chat, we want to make sure that you have the correct links. So the link for Lendistry is www.lendistry.com. That's
Correct.
it. Lendistry.com. You go put that on your URL, and it will
Mhm.
take you to the landing page of the application. We want to say break.
It'll take you to the landing page where it'll say the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. And then you'll see this to what I went through here. What I'm encouraging everybody is to review what's on the landing page and the links if there's additional questions. But if we go out of here real quick, if I scroll down, this is what you'll see when you click on that tab. I don't have the ability to scroll down at the moment, but if you scroll down, let's see, can I scroll down here? Can someone scroll down for me? There you go.
Oh, it's going backwards.
No, we're going down, I think. There we go.
Okay.
Okay, so here's your program questions. You have the frequently asked questions that I went through. There was several answers to frequently asked questions. And if you go down here a little bit more, you'll see the guide. Up, up. Yep, right here. Right. No, you're too far. No, down. That has a lot of the information too, but it's more condensed in our application guide. That's what I went through here. Right here is the application guide. So that's what you want to review.
Right. So please make sure before you go
This is the
to
guide.
apply, before you go to apply,
Mhm.
please make sure you're going through the program guide to make sure you are filling out the information just as the SBA wants it. There's the guide. The one thing I do want to mention again in the chat is there is another program. So PIDC continues to partner with Lendistry for the Paycheck Protection Program, which was originally scheduled to end on March 31st, but the deadline has been extended to May 31st. And so there's been a rush lately to meet that deadline. In the chat, there is a link for the Paycheck Protection Program partnership between Lendistry and PIDC. And that's the one that says lendistry.com/partner/PIDC/. That is for those businesses that have not yet applied for the Triple P program, or if you already did and this is your second draw, then you are encouraged to use that link, and that will take you to the Lendistry website where we have partnered. But be cautioned that Lendistry will have this website open until Monday, which is May 10th. After that, then we'll find an alternative for you to seek to submit your Paycheck Protection Program application. So let me just ask, for those who are on the call tonight, is there anyone who has not, Bill and Christina, have both of you applied for the Paycheck Protection Program? Because you still have until May 31st of this month if you have not. Either if your first draw, that's fine. If this is second draw, that's fine. But we just want to make sure that you are applying for the Paycheck Protection Program. If you have not done it yet, then you can apply to Lendistry, and that is the longer link that you see in the chat.
That's correct. Marla, let me clear up something there. You know, the program artificially ends on March 31st. It was announced Tuesday afternoon, I believe, that the funding through that pot of money is gone. There is no more money. It was all used. And that's what has been funded and what they, I guess, have determined that's in the pipeline. There was a special set aside of money, $1 billion, something in that amount, for CDFIs, which Lendistry is one. So we're one of the few, if only, CDFIs in this area that I know of. Of course, we lend. We were have given permission by the SBA to lend in all jurisdictions, but we are still taking applications through Monday, May 10th. We may, and I only say may, and I don't want to get in trouble by my bosses, but we may extend that and more to come there. But I'm being told that May 10th will be we'll cut off our portal just because we cannot take in any more applications to process and make sure that our customers that have applied and have received numbers from the SBA will receive their funding. We don't want anybody not to receive their award if they're in line and they receive a number from the SBA.
Right.
So
Bill Tucker is talking about the Paycheck Protection Program now for Monday, May 10th.
correct.
So we shifted, and I'm sorry for confusing you. We shifted because I wanted to make sure that you have the correct links. So there was a link in the chat that was for the Paycheck Protection Program. So I wanted to make sure when you use that link, you knew you were on the Paycheck Protection Program page. And the straight Restaurant Revitalization Fund, there is no, put May 10th out of your mind as far as the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. That
Or
May 10th.
keep it in mind because we want you to get it. Yeah, we want you to
Yeah,
get
that's
it in
true.
as soon as possible.
But there's not a deadline yet for May 10th.
Correct.
The May
Right.
10th is only for the Paycheck Protection Program. But for the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, you want to go to lendistry.com. And that's where all of this information that Tucker is showing right now on the screen, you're going to see all of this information when you go to lendistry.com. So we don't have a deadline yet for restaurant revitalization, but it's not a lot of money. That's why we're saying get in line. But in order to get in line, you need to make sure that your application is correct. So if you go to lendistry.com, you'll get help completing your application. So in line, you'll have a complete application and you won't get pulled out. Because if you get pulled out by the SBA because your application is incorrect, you stand a strong chance of losing your place in line. And that's what we don't want. And for the first 21 days, even if you're in line, they're going to process those that fit into that priority group. So hope I haven't confused you. We just want to make sure you have all of this information, you get your application completed correctly, you're in line. If you're in any of those 3 priority groups, your application is going to be processed within those first 21 days. And I've heard the SBA say they're going to get that money out within 14 days.
Yeah, I agree. I think I've heard that they've, with that one instance with the business where they already received closing documents. So, I mean, that's a good sign, right? That's
Yeah,
the
that's amazing.
last step in the process, so to speak. So, just encourage you to apply, everyone to apply through us, and we will do everything within our power. And I think we've done a good job, and I think this has been a great partnership with not only the PIDC but with the SBA as well. So kudos to our CEO Everett Sand and to Clarence and all the team at Lendistry. I joined in December of last year and was sort of brought on to extend the eastern market and down into the southern states, and bring some other partners on board. So we really appreciate everything and all that you do to help us and to help us grow.
So there's a question in the chat about a bankruptcy. The company had a bankruptcy back in 2015. Is that okay?
You know, I would recommend that individual go in and just read what the caveat is for the bankruptcy. I know that there's some language regarding that. I believe they are. I believe you would be eligible. 2015 is a while back, so I think that that should be okay. But I don't want to say for sure.
Also, Tucker, you do have a help desk with Lendistry.
We have a help desk. Yep.
So maybe
Yes.
we can can we scroll down and get the help desk information?
Sure.
There it is.
Now, I will tell you, the help desk will help you navigate our site, right? We do still encourage, if there's, really detailed questions regarding things like bankruptcy, to go into some of those links that we provide and drill down and find the answer. I apologize in advance for not knowing all the information, but I wanted to provide what I know in terms of how we're partnering with the SBA and with organizations such as the PIDC to help these companies that you're working with, or there might be companies on the line here, apply and ultimately get funding through this program and the SBA.
The other thing I just put in the chat is the SBA also has a call center hotline, and there's the number, and it is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. So your question, you have time to catch that help center today.
I think that would be if you cannot find the answer to your question through the links that we provide, I think that's probably a very good alternative to ask them. I just don't know how busy they are, what the expected wait times are.
Oh, I'm sure they're swamped.
Yeah, I do. I believe that too.
Yeah, but you have some options. So you can read through the frequently asked questions section here on the website. You can call the Lendistry help desk. You can call the SBA hotline, call center hotline. So, and just as Tucker said, you may have to wait a few minutes, because remember, this is a nationwide program. So businesses from literally from all over the country are calling into one number. And so you may have to wait a little while. And remember, Lendistry is a nationwide organization also. They're headquartered out of California, and they've got an office here on the East Coast. And so when you call those numbers, get yourself a cool drink, take a seat, and be a little patient. So if you're not connected immediately, stay on the line. Someone will get to your call.
And similarly, if you have if you know of other businesses throughout the country that are, on the fence and haven't put their information together and are considering applying, but are maybe a little intimidated by the process, please help spread the word as well. We'd like to help as many businesses, not only here on the East Coast in this corridor, but really in every jurisdiction.
There was someone who asked, is there a fee? There is not a fee.
No.
So Lendistry is not charging for this support. The SBA is not charging for this support.
No. No fee.
So someone asked, do you have a service center that can help after I submit my application through Lendistry?
Well, I mean, that's part of what part of the call center will do. I manage a team of sales processors that we're reviewing the applications as they come through the pipeline, so to speak, through a customer relationship management database. I'm not going to bore you with all the nitty gritty details, but we are scrutinizing the applications for anomalies and for some errors here and there. You know, we just want to make sure that everything passes the stress tests up front, and you're that much further along the line when you're go into the SBA portal and you're ready to upload your financial information. Like I said, we're not underwriting these deals. We're not making the decisions.
Mm-hmm.
We are simply taking the applications, helping the SBA sort of onboard many clients that may have tried to go in. I know the SBA portal went down during the EIDL, I heard. So
Mm-hmm.
I think the fear was that they would get such a crush in the beginning that they might have crashed. I don't think that was the case, fortunately. But these funds are not going to last. They're going to
Right.
go,
Right.
and it is nationwide. So there's a lot of demand, and there's a finite amount of resources. So we want to try
Right.
to help those folks get in and get funded where we can.
And Bill, you got it correctly. The purpose of working with Lendistry is going to help you get that application correct before it gets sent to the SBA. So Lendistry is going to help you get it right, and then Lendistry will send your application to the SBA. So once it hits the SBA, your application should be good, you're in line, and hopefully you're in line before the $28.6 billion is allocated or encumbered to businesses.
And one of the important pieces here too is that we're handling the banking part of it too. We're handling the linking of your account through Plaid and verifying all that information up front, so that when hopefully the award is approved, the wiring of the funds can happen immediately, and there's no worrying in terms of having to do that at the last minute. That's all being taken care of up front by us.
That's great. That's great. Any questions that anyone has? Again, we're grateful to Lendistry for this opportunity. We're excited for Lendistry that they have been designated by the Small Business Administration for this role, which is a very needed role because the SBA knows between the Paycheck Protection Program, between the EIDL program, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, a lot of mistakes were made in the application process. And so this is an opportunity to help you avoid making those mistakes before the SBA.
Thank you very much, everybody. Good evening.
Let's go on.